Never bend your head. Always hold it high. Look the world right in the eye. I'm Safi Watlington, a second-grade student at Marion P. Thomas Charter School and future leader. That quote by Helen Keller can be applied to our final honoree of the evening, Mr. Byron Pitts. Byron Pitts grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and by the time he was 18 years old, he already knew he wanted to be a journalist for 60 Minutes. This was something his classmates at Ohio Wesleyan University found funny, as Byron suffered from stuttering. But he held on to his dream, looking to his role models for inspiration. Ed Bradley, the first African-American correspondent on 60 Minutes. Dr. Yulee Lewis, a college professor who encouraged him to stay in school. And James Mack, a deacon at his home church. And one day his dream became a reality. Being a journalist for network news is the pinnacle of success, of which Mr. Pitts has had many. He was named Journalist of the Year in 2002 by the National Black Journalists Association and is the recipient of 2 National Emmy Awards, 6 Regional Emmy Awards, and 4 Associated Press Awards. He has interviewed celebrities and reported from Baghdad to Kuwait to Ground Zero. But in the midst of his success, Mr. Pitts chose to share his story, the story of a young, unsure child who struggled with illiteracy and stuttering. The story of a man who was wise enough to learn lessons from not only those who supported him, but from those who told him he'd never make it. In his memoir, Step Out on Nothing, and in his professional life, Mr. Pitts could have shown a facade, but he chose to show the truth, a truth that he shared with us personally when he visited my class in 2011. Being a role model is not being someone who shows perfection, but being someone who shows his flaws. Mr. Pitts' flaws make him very real and show us that we can overcome anything. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our role model, Mr. Byron Pitts, award-winning national correspondent for CBS News.
Man is sharp, isn't he? Amen. You know, I pulled out my handkerchief to give to my wife, and I used it. When I saw those boys up front and how inspiring their story is, and it's an honor to be here. Now, for those of you of a certain age, you'll appreciate why I need these. It's an honor for me to be here this evening, and I want to thank all those who make this celebration possible. To our friend Karen Thomas and the board members of the Marion P. Thomas Charter School, to this evening's sponsors, to the administrators and teachers at Marion P. Thomas, and to the young people whose lives and future we hold dear. For me, there is great irony in this evening's celebration. We gather tonight to celebrate fathers, but the greatest influence in my life was my mother, Clarice Pitts. God called her home this past December 14th to be exact. I held her hand as she took her last breath. She crammed a lot of life and love and lessons in her 77 years on earth. As strong as my mom was, she knew she wasn't strong enough to raise a child, an African-American male, by herself. My mom taught me the African proverb in action, not just words. Yes, it takes a village to raise a child. Though my father was absent most of my life, my mom made sure I was surrounded by father figures. From my Uncle Fred, who taught me to tie a tie. My Uncle Preacher, that's his nickname. My Uncle Preacher, who was the only adult to ever take me to a Baltimore Orioles baseball game. For the record, we sat in the cheap seats, the nosebleed section. We didn't have binoculars, so my uncle and I strained to see the game and loved it when someone hit the ball in the outfield. I had father figures who were my blood relatives or relatives through marriage, but there were other good fathers in my life. men who were kind to me, good to me, simply because they were good men. Deacon Mack at my home church. Deacon Mack taught me through his example, a real man does love Jesus. Coach Cook, my Little League football coach, was a white man who taught me skin color doesn't matter. That here in America, with all our struggles, here in America, character can trump color. I can't forget my teachers, especially in high school. They are fathers, literally. I was taught by Franciscan priests, men who devoted their lives to service and self-sacrifice. I like to say I had the best of both worlds, educated Catholic, raised Baptist. Tonight, on behalf of all the fathers who helped raise me, I say thank you. And to each of you, I encourage you to keep being the father and mother figures to our young people with whom you are blessed to come in contact with. Be the one to tell a child, you can do it because I believe in you. I'm 51 years old. As a journalist, I've been a few places and seen a few things. What our children need most doesn't come from Washington or the state capitol. It will come from the men and women in this room. God bless you. Thank you.